check in with you. We had kind of a bizarre plan for history this year. We were doing a whole bunch of Memoria Press's classics curriculums, and we were just going to do them all.
I think it's not bizarre to me because I haven't done all the research into what other people do that you have. And so it just seemed like, oh, we've got these books, so let's read these books. And the way we read books is a lot. We read books a lot. We spend a lot of our day going on long walks. We spend a lot of our day playing outside. We spend a lot of our day me reading aloud while she's drawing or doing an arts and crafts project or doing insert any other activity here. And so you got a bunch of books. I saw them and I saw that they went chronologically in order, and I said, let's read a bunch of books. And so far we're kind of making our way through it. We've read Delaire's Greek Myths.
And you finished that.
We started with that. We finished with that to give a foundation for
and we went
pre-ancient world, like gods and goddesses and how the people thought we're gonna think about it.
And we read the book, and we also did Memoria Press's teacher guide as a verbal way of doing all the questions and answers and vocabulary. And there's a baby here if you're wondering what that sound is.
Hello. We're not having her write anything down for it. We're just kind of walking around and asking the questions and having discussions, which I think is a better way to really do it at this age, especially because writing for her is such an
ordeal.
Yeah, it's a real chore. But
I have been having her do little essay paragraphs,
and those have been really good, where she can trace what you've written.
Well, okay, so I have her do it two ways. One, I have her dictate a paragraph to me that's a summary of a chapter or something that you guys did that week.
Yeah.
And then I write it all down, and she traces it and does it as copy work. And then the other way I do it is I dictate a paragraph to her, and she has to write the whole thing down.
Oh, nice.
And I usually do that after she and I have spoken about the subject. So she'll give me a verbal summary. I'll turn that into a logical paragraph in my head, and I'll dictate it word by word slow enough for her to form all the words into sentences and write the whole paragraph.
Nice. And that's a good exercise for her.
Yeah. She's 7, so I think that's fine.
And then we did Memoria Press's Book of the Ancient World. And we did the same thing with their teacher guide or student guide in that, where we went through all of the review stuff for every chapter and all of the vocab words and all of the discussion questions in those. Just, again, out loud every few chapters. We'd read because the way they're broken down, the chapters are grouped into kind of settings. And so we'd read a group of chapters.
So you do
the questions.
All of ancient Egypt, and then all of Babylon, or Sumeria, or the Hittites, or whatever it was.
Yeah. And then we'd go through all of that and do all the discussion questions. And then we kind of rounded it out at the end and finished it up with some of the review stuff.
Okay.
And then we jumped right into the Susan Weisbauer
Story of the
World.
Which this is arguably the 3rd or 4th time you've done this particular one.
She's listened to the audiobooks for these quite a bit. And they're her favorite thing to hear in the car. I think she was using them to fall asleep to for a little while.
And we have a lot of Jim Weiss CDs.
Yeah, we've heard a lot of the Jim Weiss stories.
So we have his Pharaohs and Queens of Ancient Egypt. We have Gods and Goddesses of Ancient Egypt.
We have the Wise Men of Greece.
And
stories
Julius
of
Caesar.
Courage and hope.
Julius Caesar and Famous Men of Rome.
Yeah.
So we've got a lot of those. We have a lot of Jim Weiss CDs. So we have a lot of Pharaohs and Queens of Ancient Egypt. We have Gods and Goddesses of Ancient Egypt. And we have the Wise Men of Greece. And Julius Caesar and Famous Men of Rome. So we've got a lot of those. We got a lot of those.
so she's heard a lot of it before, but we're going through it again with me reading it to her, and
From the physical book this time.
and we're not doing so much of the Memoria Press discussion questions,
Well,
but
no,
we're discussing our way
because that's not Memoria Press. So we have the Story of the World discussion questions.
the way they were printed. I just assumed they were made from the same printer.
Right? Don't they feel like they fit?
Yeah. So, but we're doing less of those discussion questions and more of just our own discussing it as we go through it and discussing the connections she's making throughout history and where things are lining up in a timeline and how things fit together. And
So where are you guys at on Story of the World?
we just finished his brief trip into the Americas and
now you're in Rome.
And now we're in Rome. We just got through the Greek Dark Ages
Okay.
and all of that, and now we're in the early stages of Rome. We just did the Romulus and Remus story, and
So now, because you got to that point, this weekend we started Famous Men of Greece.
we're going to. We haven't actually started it yet, but we're gonna start that.
Oh, I read 3 chapters of it to her this weekend.
Well, then I guess we have started it.
So FYI, we started that. Which is good because it's actually the beginning of it is recap from Delaire's Greek myths.
Yeah.
So it's all like shorter versions of the
We
mythology
did read
stories.
that. We were reading that when we went on our walk.
Yeah.
That was that book. Yeah. Yeah, so we've started that as well.
So we have to finish Story of the World, finish Famous Men of Greece, do
Famous.
the Book of the Ancient Greeks.
That's the one.
Famous Men of Rome, Book of Ancient Rome.
And then like Story of the World from Rome to...
and then we have the Aeneid for boys and girls and the Trojan War.
Yeah.
And that was what we had planned on doing this year.
And we've also got the comic books that I want to do touch base with her again on, because I think she enjoyed them so much the first time, and now that she has all of this background knowledge, I think she's just gonna like really flip for them.
So
this time.
what are we going to do if you finish all of this before Classical Conversations actually starts in the fall?
Go back through, spend a while going back through the review stuff on it, and then
Are you going to get the
either
books out from last year, or are you going to go back through these?
and say we might cycle back through these. We might cycle back through and do a mixed order of different books. I think I like the idea of just keep going back to the through history and do deep dive somewhere else. Try to deep dive somewhere where we haven't gone as deep yet, and just see where it takes us.
All right.
We've also got a bunch of new Jewish history stuff that I'm planning on our next deep dive. Elul's coming up. So we're gonna probably pause everything and do the deep dive through Jewish history again. And now we've got the Sages books and the Talmud books. And I think that'll line up
stories
really
from the
well,
Torah and stories,
especially because we
from
just
Jewish
talked about
history.
Babylon, understanding what that was like for the Jews who lived there, and then the whole thing.
All right.
Yeah, I think we've got enough history to last us for the next year and a half before we need to think about what we're going to do all over again. Yeah.
All right. So that's History of the Ancient World and our crazy plan.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks.